Shvat, Tafshin, Yud Aleph. As you probably know, the Chassidim were waiting for this Maamar for just about a year. And they kept on asking the Rebbe to accept the leadership, and in Lubavitch, accepting the leadership was by saying a Maamar. That was the indication that the Rebbe is accepting it openly and clearly for all Chassidim. By the Farbrengen then, the Rebbe was saying Sichis, and the Chassidim were waiting to hear if the Rebbe was going to say a Maamar. And finally, when the Rebbe began, you can hear the recording. When the Rebbe began, he didn't begin immediately with a Maamar, but he began with this line that it says before, that the Friedrich Rebbe, or the Rebbe the Schwer, schreibt the Maamar, and then the Rebbe began with the niggin of the Maamar. And it was a very big excitement at the time. You hear it on the recording. The Rebbe started, I'm saying, not the niggin before the Maamar, but the Rebbe started saying, Basi Legani, with the niggin of a Maamar, and the whole Olam jumped up to hear the Maamar. Absolute surprise. No one knew what's going to happen. Yeah, for sure, it was a big surprise. Yeah. Okay, let's begin. Kaisev Kvait Kedushas Meire V'chami Admor. The Friedrich Rebbe writes, Maamar le'yoyim histalkusai, in the Maamar that was given out on the day of his Istalkus. Yud Shvat, Hey Shin Yud Sof, Tafshin Yud. I've come to my garden, my sister, my bride. It's on page Gimel. So what's the meaning of this? The Medrash is Medayik here, one page before. So the Medrash Rabbah on the Pasuk says, Legan ein ksiv kan. It doesn't say in the Pasuk that Hashem came to the garden, Elo Legani. Rather it says Hashem comes to his garden. And then the Medrash adds another point, Legnuni, to his private place for a chassan and a kala. So the Medrash says the meaning of this is that this is the place, here below in this world is the place where the primary presence of Hashem was here in the beginning of creation. The place where the primary level of Shechina was here below in this world. Ad kan l'shaynai. This is the beginning of the Maamar of the Friedrich Rebbe. So in this ice, the Rebbe will explain what is the meaning of Shechina. Of course, there are many different expressions to describe the presence of Hashem. And the language used here is Dafke Shechina. And besides that, it adds the word Ikke Shechina, which means that there's different levels of Shechina. And we're stressing that which level of Hashem was here below, Dafke Ikke Shechina. What's the pshat in this? To understand the choice of words. That what level of Hashem was here below, it was Ikke Shechina. So first let's understand what Shechina means. Pirish Shechina, the pshat of the word Shechina, Mevayir, Kvektushas Admor Azakin, the Alter Rebbe explains, and here in this paragraph we're going to have a short piece of all of the Rabbeim, and the Rebbe will tie them all in together. So the Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya, Shenikra Shechina, the expression of Shechina, what does that mean? Al Shem Sheshechenes HaMislabeshes, because this is the level of godliness that comes down, that dwells, and is enclosed in creation. It's invested and involved and engaged with creation. Milashon v'shachanti b'soicham. Like it says in the Pasuk, v'shachanti b'soicham, the Eibusha says, I dwell amongst you. So Shechina does not refer to the source that's removed from the hashpah, that's removed from the interaction with whatever it's providing for. Adarabah. Shechina is that level of godliness that comes out and connects and gives chayis to the place that it enters into. Then the Alter Rebbe adds a few words, which is very interesting. Shehu, and what is Shechina? Reishis is galus Orein Seif. The beginning, the very beginning of the revelation of Orein Seif. So first Alter Rebbe seems to be the Alter Rebbe saying two different points here. First Alter Rebbe says, what's the meaning of Shechina? Shechina is al shem shechenes mislabeshes. Shechenes mislabeshes means into something. There is a bria, there's a place, there's an entity, and the Eibusha comes into there. On the other hand, though, the Alter Rebbe says that the meaning of Shechina is it's the very beginning. The very beginning of the Gilui, when it comes out from the source, before it's yet arrived in a place where it's Shechenes and Mislabeshes, the Reishis Ha'izgalos, that's also referred to as Shechina. So the Rebbe will explain this. Hinei sanao mima shekaisef. From this, that the Alter Rebbe adds that Shechina does not only mean Shechenes and Mislabeshes, that it dwells and gets involved, But Alter Rebbe says, Shareish is Galus Ein Sof, the very beginning of the revelation of Ein Sof, Nikra b'Shem Shechina, is referred to as Shechina. Move on Mizah, we can understand from this, She'inyan Shechina, She'inyan Shechina, the idea, the expression of the word Shechina, Hulamayla Mayla Matzilas Gamkein, is above Atzilus as well. It's not the term Shechina is not only in the world of Atzilus, it's above Atzilus. Because Atzilus is not the beginning, it's not the Reishus Galus. The Reishus, the very beginning of the revelation of Hashem, is way above Atzilus. Gam, and even b'pchinas ha'er shalifnei tzimtzum, even in the revelation that was before any tzimtzum whatsoever, there you can use the term Shechina as well. Shaharei Reishus Galus, where is the beginning of the revelation? Hu ba'erein sof shalifnei tzimtzum. It's the first revelation is there before any tzimtzum. There's Ein Sof, the Eibusha express. There's an expression. There's a revelation of the greatness of the powerful bleak vul of Hashem. There, that level could also be referred to as Shechina. Now, this point that the Rebbe just said here, that there's Shechina above Atzilus, and there's even Shechina that goes higher and higher. So the Rebbe brings a source for this from what the Mittler Rebbe says. The Mittler Rebbe is talking about after Tzimtzum, but in the words of the Mittler Rebbe, we'll see that Shechina is even before Atzilus. As the Mittler Rebbe says in a Maamar, Ki ha'oras hakav v'chut, the ray of revelation that's described in Kabbalah as a kav, as a line of revelation, or a chut, a thread. A thread of revelation. Meaning, of course, that it's not the full intensity of the revelation in the beginning that fills all the space, which means doesn't allow for any other existence to be recognized. But this is already a level of revelation after Tzimtzum, which has a certain level of limitation to it, and it allows for another existence. But this Kav and Chot is before Atzilus, though. Kav and Chot is that revelation of godliness after Tzimtzum, before Atzilus. Legabe Atzmius Ein Sof, contrasting the ha'ara of Kav and Chot to the revelation of Ein Sof itself, the Atzmius of Ein Sof, that is Nikra b'Shem Shechina. The Kav that's revealed right after Tzimtzum is referred to as Shechina. What's the pshat in this? So the Rebbe explains. How could the level over here that's above Atzilus be referred to as Shechina? And even though, the Rebbe is going to assume, quote, that B'derech Klal and Chassidus and Kabbalah, what is the level of Shechina referring to? Shechina is referring to Atzilus. And in Atzilus itself, it's referring to the lowest level in Atzilus, which comes down to being clothed and involved with the Bria, with the Nivroim, Biyah. That's what a Shechina usually refers to. Here we're saying Shechina is above Atzilus, Shechina is even above Tzimtzum. So what's the pshat? Doesn't Shechina refer to a specific level? So the point is, Ki inyan Shechina hu b'chol makim lefi inyanai. The meaning of the term Shechina is in each place according to that level. What is really the meaning of Shechina? Shechina means that this is a level that comes out to connect, to engage, and to be involved with something else, to provide and be engaged with something else, which means that there, in every level, there's the essence of that level, as it is to itself, removed within, and then there's what comes out, the hashpah that relates, that connects. So in each individual world, in each individual level, within that world, there's the world as it exists and functions for itself, internally, inside, removed from any other world, and then there's what exists in that world, which is the beginning and a source for what's going to happen in the next world, bringing down the hashpah to be engaged with the next world. So therefore, in each level, in each world, there is the essence of that place, the essence of that level, and that level that comes out to connect to the next level. So therefore, Shechina is not one particular level. Shechina could be referring to each place, each level, each world, that level that relates to what comes out. So therefore, in the world of Atzilus, Malchus nikra b'shem Shechina. Malchus, which is the lowest sphere, of course, of Atzilus, that's what's referred to as Shechina. The level that comes out from Atzilus, and the highest that it provides and gives to the next world of Biyah. The Gam Bezeh, the Rebbe adds another point to this. Gam Bezeh Shemalchus Datzilis Nikra Shchina. Also, this fact that Malchus of Atzilus is referred to as Shchina. Mevayik V'Kedushas Admorat Tzemach Tzedek. The Tzemach Tzedek explains in a Maamar, Shezeu Dafke. In Malchus of Atzilus, there are two levels. And when we say that Malchus of Atzilus is referred to as Shchina, Shezeu Dafke K'Moshenasis B'chinas Atik Leilam Abriya. This is the level of Malchus once it becomes the level of Atik, which Atik is in Keser. Keser is the highest level of every world. Atik is the pneumius of Keser, the deepest and deepest source of Eilam Abriya. So Malchus Atzilus, which is the lowest level of the world of Atzilus, becomes the source and the beginning that is mashpia into the world of Bria. So when we say that Malchus of Atzilus is Shchina, it refers to the lower level of Malchus, which transitions into becoming Atik of the world of Bria. However, Malchus itself, when it's still in Atzilus, part of the world of Atzilus, before coming down and being a source for the world of Bria, him yechedes imam. The sphere of Malchus being the last of the spheres, but it's still unified with the rest of the 10 spheres of the world of Imatziris Atzilus. V'loi shayech loshen Shchina. Even in Malchus, you still can't use the term of Shchina because it's part of the experience in the world of Atzilus. The mashal for this would be, we know Malchus is koyach hadibur. When a person speaks and communicates, that's an example for Malchus. Just like when a person speaks, he connects and communicates to somebody else and explains something and gives over a message to somebody else. The whole focus of dibur is there's a zulas. There's somebody else that is communicating with. But in dibur itself, there's the actual dibur, when a person speaks words, and there's a listener that's getting the message and is able to receive that ashpa, and then from there take it into his world, and then it comes into his world with all of the spheres and all the faculties that he has. But then there's something earlier. Within the mashpia himself, there's the koyach of dibur. The fact that the mashpia has the ability to speak and the ability to communicate even before he actually communicates. So it's all still internally in the source that the person has his seichel, his midas, which includes all the 10 faculties, including malchus, the koyach of dibur, before he actually communicates. So although the koyach of dibur is a koyach to engage and to communicate with somebody else, but before he actually speaks, it's all internally within him. It's his ability, it's his potential that's inside the person. So that would be Malchus Atzilus. That's the mashal for Malchus Atzilus before it comes out and before it actually is connected to the next world. So that's not referred to as Shechina yet. It's still considered to be internal, the experience of the person himself, his own abilities. Then you have Malchus, once the words come out and they're communicated and they're expressed, so then that's the hashpa of Malchus Atzilus, which becomes Atik Libri, and that's Shechina. Because that's the hashpa of Atzilus, which is engaged and becomes the beginning to the existence in the next world. Kol Makaim, the Rebbe continues and goes back to what we said before. However, this is not a contradiction to what we said before. That the kav, the level of kav, which is that revelation right after tzimtzum, is what's referred to as shchina. In general, the term shchina, which is brought in many places in Razal, hainu malchus datzilus. Shchina refers to malchus datzilus. That's in general, whenever it uses the term shchina, it's talking about malchus datzilus. V'af gam zois, and as we just said, what level of malchus datzilus? Rak kishenasis b'chinas atik libriya dafka. It's the level of malchus datzilus, not within atzilus itself, not in its potential, not as it's part of the 10 spheres of atzilus, but once it comes down, and it's already a source for the world of bria. But in the source of where the hashpa is coming from, even before Atzilus, the source of Shechina, when you're looking at the revelation of godliness and comparing it to the source of Eirein Saif, is in the source, even Kav, which is one line and one ray of revelation, comparing that to the source of Eirein Saif, that's also referred to as Shechina. The Rebbe adds an additional vart here about this. One of the reasons why Kav even way before Atzilus, is already referred to as Shchina, Lagabe Eirein Seif, contrasting it and comparing it to Eirein Seif. So the Rebbe says, Echad Atayim, one of the reasons. So it seems like the Rebbe is going to say something additional to the point that he said till here. Till here, the Rebbe made the point that in every revelation or in every level, there is what exists within, removed, and there's what comes out, engaged with the next world. So here, the Rebbe said that Kav, which is a very high level, but the Gabi Eirein Seif itself, the level of Kav is already coming out. It's already a level that relates to a world that's below it. But the thing is, within Kav itself, it's not yet related at all to the Metzias of Eilemis. The Alter Rebbe's lashon before was that Shechina means Shechenes u'mislabeshes. It comes down to dwell and be involved and engaged with what? With V'shechanti b'seicham, with the Bria, with the Eilemis Biyah. That's what it's referring to. So, the question remains, it's well understood when you talk about Malchus Datzilos. Once Malchus Datzilos is communicated, so to speak, it comes out to become a source for Bria. So that could be referred to as Shechina. But if we're talking about Kav, although it is true that Kav, comparing it to the source of Eirein Seif, Kav is only a ray, and it's a gilu that comes out, and it's not within the source of Eirein Seif, but still Kav, could it be referred to as Shechenes or Mislabeshes? The pshat of the word Shechina means that it dwells, it interacts. There's no interaction with anything in Bria when you're talking about Kav. So therefore the Rebbe explains a deeper vart here, based on coming from the Rebbe Marash. The Rebbe Marash writes in a Maamar, Lefisha Kav, because even with the Kav, which is so high up at the beginning and the source of the revelation, Kavaras Hamshachasai. What is the original intention of Hashem drawing it out and revealing it after Tzimtzum is B'shvil sheyislabish ba'elemis and Neshamas Yisrael. It's all for the purpose that there should be a revelation of Eirein Seif that reaches all Eilemis and reaches Yidden. As this is explained in another place, there's two levels of Kav. There's a Chetzenius of the Kav, which comes into the world in general, and there's the Pnimius of Kav, which is connected to the Yidden. Here's not the place to go into that parichas, but those are the 2 points here. But what the Rebbe is adding over here is Kavana Samshachasai, which means that what was the whole Pnimius and plan L'chatchila of why there is this revelation, it's all for Eilemis. And therefore, even before it actually reaches into a place where it's engaged directly with Eilemis, but if that's the whole purpose of it, L'chatchila, so even before it comes there, its whole existence, L'chatchila, is engaged, is for the purpose of Eilemis. So, Ba'mitis Anyanim, B'pnimius, Kav, right at the beginning, is interacting. That's what it really is, even before it reaches the final destination where it comes. But its emes and mitzias is to be Meshechenes and Mislabeshes, to connect to the mitzias of Eilemis. So therefore we could say that even at the beginning of this revelation, as the Alter Rebbe calls it, Reishis, his Galos, it's already called Nikra B'Shem Shechina. The whole Kavana of this revelation is for the existence of Eilemis and Yidden, and therefore it's called Shechina. It's there to dwell amongst Yidden. So now, sorry, I missed something. Now that Rebbe comes back to the point that he said before, that not only is there Shechina and Atzilus, and even higher than Atzilus, the Kav, which is the first revelation after Tzimtzum. But as the Rebbe mentioned right at the beginning, there's actually a revelation that's even higher than that, even before Tzimtzum. Even there, the revelation of Hashem that exists there could also be referred to as Shechina. Even higher, Shechina b'shar she'erishain, the Shechina that there is in the very first source of revelation. Even above Tzimtzum. The Rebbe Rashab explains in a Maamar, the revelation of Hashem, as it exists even before Tzimtzum, Nikra b'shem Shechina, could also be referred to as Shechina. Generally speaking, talking about the Ur of the Eibusha that exists before Tzimtzum, Yesh by Gimel Madreges. There are 3 different levels there. Right, so even though you would think any level of Ur is an expression, is a revelation of Hashem, and therefore the Alter Rebbe says Reishis is Galas Eirein Seif, so any level of revelation maybe we should refer to it as Shechina. It's not the very essence itself that's not revealed. But no, it doesn't. That's not the pshat here. That's not true, because even though it's true that Alter Rebbe says that Reishis is Galos Ein Sof is Shechina, but still it has to be a level of his Galos that he could also refer to as Shechenes. That this is a level that has some connection to coming down and coming out to be dwelling in something. So therefore, in the Gilui of Ein Sof Shelifnei Tzimtzum, it doesn't refer to any level there, but there are three different levels there, as the Rebbe will explain here, or at least mention Bekitzer. The Rebbe does not get into the lengthy explanation of this. There's, what are the three levels? There's Etzem Ha'or, there's the essence of the revelation itself. Then there's the Hispashtus Ha'or. There's the extension of this revelation that spreads out even further than the source. Again, this is not the place to explain this ba'arichis, but you have a revelation that comes out of a source, the etzem ha'or, the oir that comes out of the shemesh, right at the beginning, at the very source when it comes out, the oir does not even identify itself. It doesn't feel itself as it exists. The etzem ha'or itself is part of the source itself. The source itself is bright, and the etzem, b'derech memela, has the oir that's almost a part of the source itself. It's included within the source itself. That's the etzem of the oir. And then there's the hispashtus. The ray comes out, it extends. Ubehispashtus oir, and then when that revelation comes out and extends further, beis madregis. There, that could be divided into two levels. There's a gilui oir k'moishuhu la'atzmai, the revelation of Hashem as it is to Himself. It doesn't have any relation whatsoever to anything outside of the Eibishter himself. This is the expression of the Eibishter to himself. Shezeu Makir Oir HaSeiviv. This level of Gilui Oir La'atzmai is the source of what ultimately later becomes known as Oir HaSeiviv, that comes down and encompasses all the worlds equally. That's one level of Oir. Then there's a level that's a revelation, all within Hashem Himself. It's all before Tzimtzum, it's to Himself. But still, this is a level that has somewhat of relation to Eilemis. This is what later comes down after Tzimtzum to become the source of the Oira Mamala, that level of Hashem that's invested and designed specifically for each level, and it fills every single level accordingly. So before Tzimtzum, this level of Hispashtus Ein Sof that is before the purpose of Eilemis, Nikra B'Shem Shechina. This is what's referred to as Shechina.
Why are you saying three levels of this four?
What do you mean by four? Where's the fourth? Before he's talking about.
You have two. No.
So the Hispashtus Ein is subdivided into two. Yeah. So Kumtais that there's three levels here. There's many more, but we're talking about dividing it in general categories before Tzimtzum. That you have these levels here.
But here he's saying that the Shechina is only the Spashtus, which means the Gilui.
Yes.
The Etzem is not.
Correct.
But in the
Lifnei
other one,
Tzimtzum.
Where? Didn't he imply in the ones we just learned?
The Rebbe is going up higher and higher. We were talking about Malchus Datzilus.
Right.
Then the Rebbe goes higher up even to the Kav. And now the Rebbe says even before Tzimtzum, but even before Tzimtzum, it's only the Hispashtus of the Oir. And what level of the Hispashtus? That level that the Rebbe says is Shayach Leilemis. Now the term Shayach Leilemis does not mean that it's engaged or it's in contact in any way. Shayach means it's in this source that's coming out, that's a source for a source of Leilemis. Correct. Yeah, maybe that's what it's referred to also, yeah.
But in the other one,
which other one? We're reminding.
The Batzilegandi before he says that the Ikar Shechina involved the Giloyor and he said
even deeper. Okay, I'm not sure. Let's see. I'm not sure.
His words are not that clear.
So although we're speaking all about different levels that exist before Tzimtzum, before Tzimtzum, you cannot really refer to it with that term of makar as being a direct source, because it's a completely different reality. A source means that what's here comes out directly as a source. It can't at all be referred to as a source. And therefore there has to be a tzimtzum. And what kind of tzimtzum? The very first tzimtzum, to completely remove, to completely conceal that reality that existed before tzimtzum. However, nikra b'shem shechina. Whatever exists in our reality ultimately has a source within the Eibishter's reality himself, as he is to himself. Everything has a source over there as well. However, over there, in its source, before there's any siluk, everything is part of the Eibish's reality removed of us. And you have to have a tzimtzum b'derech siluk. So therefore, it's not a real makir. But because what's going to come out later, after tzimtzum, comes from the source as it exists within the Eibishter himself, so therefore it still could be referred to as the source of Shechina. In the like the Rebbe said in the beginning of the page here, B'sharsha. In its original source, this is the deepest and highest level of Shechina. So this is the choice of words that the Friedrich Rebbe says in his Maamar. What happened at the beginning of creation? The Iker Shechina was here below in this world. Meaning, Hainu, Shekil lo yashchina b'tachtainim. When it says here that there was a revelation of Shechina here below in this world, Hu lo yashchina k'may shehu legabi Atzilus. We're not referring to the level of Shechina that it usually talks about, which is in Atzilus, Hainu Malchus, the level of Malchus and Atzilus. As the Rebbe said before, in the words of Chazal, when it talks about Shechina, it's usually referring to Malchus Atzilus. Gam like Kamoishu legabi Eidin Seif. And it's also not referring to the level of Shechina that's after Tzimtzum, comparing that level of revelation to Eidin Seif, Hainu Akav, that line of revelation that begins after Tzimtzum. Kiyim, rather, what are we referring to? Iker upnimiyis HaShechina. The deepest level of Shechina, the very source of Shechina, even before Tzimtzum, in the reality of Hashem himself, Hoysa b'tachtainim dafka. That is the level that was here below in this world. Dafka, that level, the deepest and highest level, that's completely removed, that's the level of Shechina that was here below at the time that the Eibusha created the world. Why, and what the pshat of that is, that the Iker Shechina is b'tachtainim will come in the Hemshech of the Maamar, that Rebbe will explain. But first here, the Rebbe is explaining Taich, Pshat. When it says Iker Shechina b'tachtainim, he's not referring to any of the various levels of revelation that there are that goes through the Seder of Ishtalshalos and comes down here below. But the very first source of Eidin Seif, as it is before Tzimtzum, that's the level of Shechina that was here below. The Rebbe explains further. That level of revelation that goes through the hislapshus, that's engaged and comes down level after level to come into the world. That goes through a certain order and one level and another level, and it comes down to this world. It's not revealed here below. The higher up you are in the higher spiritual worlds, the more revealed it is. The lower down it comes, the less revelation it is. This is the case with the Eir of Seder Ishtalshalos. It evolves lower and lower and lower, and when you come down here in this world, you don't have the same kind of revelation as it is Lamaila. Elamai, so as far as the level of Seder Ishtalshalos, you can't say that the presence of Hashem was here below. When it says that when the Eibusha created the world, the primary presence of Hashem was here below, we're referring to the Eir Shalifni at Tzimtzum that does not go through the whole Seder Ishtalshalos. It's that level that was here below when the Eibusha created the world. As we'll see, Mitzvah Hashem, the continuation tomorrow. Put the bookmark.